Formula One revolves around ingenuity and innovation, resulting in frequent and significant design and aero upgrades. Unfortunately, not all of these upgrades align with the intended rules, causing issues on the track that hinder overtaking. The remedy? More regulatory changes. Brace yourselves, substantial transformations are on the horizon. The FIA plans to propose regulatory adjustments in 2025 to improve the ability of Formula One cars to follow closely. While the technical regulations will remain largely untouched due to a major overhaul in 2026, focused on the new F1 power units, which will bring smaller, lighter cars with more adjustable aerodynamics. The 2025 changes aim to fine-tune the weight distribution of the cars, focusing on areas identified as problematic under the current rules. Nikolas Tombazis, the FIA's single-seater director, confirmed this during an interview, acknowledging that drivers' concerns about the increasing difficulty of following other cars were valid. Unfortunately, improvements for 2024 aren't feasible, as the design work for the new cars is well underway. Adjustments will have to wait until the following year. Carlos Sainz's comments during the Italian Grand Prix echoed this sentiment, highlighting the increasing challenges in racing closely. According to the FIA's evaluation of the current ground effect machinery's performance, the 2023 cars have regressed, surrendering 50% of the gains achieved in 2022 when following closely. This brings them dangerously close to the levels of downforce loss seen in previous generation cars. For instance, at 2 car lengths behind the front car, 2021 F1 cars lost over 50% of their aerodynamic grip, while the 2022 cars saw only a 20% reduction. However, the 2023 cars are now experiencing a 35% reduction. Attempting to enforce changes for 2024 seems unjust given that teams are already heavily invested in next year's designs and are likely to resist such adjustments. Tombazis, though, asserts that a viable solution will be developed in time for 2025 to address these issues and enhance aerodynamic performance. They are exploring potential changes, such as modifying the front wing endplate, the side of the floor, and the wheel fins around the brake ducts to impose more restrictive rules in these areas. Tombazis acknowledges a 15% worsening of the problem since the current rules cycle began, underscoring the challenges of creating Formula One cars that can closely follow each other effectively. The inherent turbulence caused by any object moving through the air remains a fundamental issue, one that cannot be eliminated unless races take place in a vacuum. The reduced ability of cars to follow closely results from teams prioritizing designs that maximize the outwash effect, pushing airflow away from the car and its tires. Ferrari, in particular, has led the way by utilizing slot gap separators to deflect airflow away from their car. Tombazis acknowledges that some current car advancements have been detrimental to racing, but the FIA's hands are often tied by regulations that prevent intervention. While they have the authority to act on flexible bodywork, they must adhere to a broad consensus to effect meaningful change in other areas. This tension between rulemakers and teams, driven by teams' relentless pursuit of performance, is a recurring theme in Formula One. Therefore, expectations for 2025 should be tempered. The changes are likely to be minor and data-driven. Geometric adjustments and possibly stricter structural requirements will likely limit the design innovations teams can employ. In a similar vein, this situation parallels the adjustments made in 2019. The most significant enhancements were focused on streamlining the front wings to mitigate aerodynamic disturbances. This alteration was grounded in research for the ground effect regulations scheduled for implementation in 2021. While the impact of the 2019 modifications was questioned for their limited effect, they were deemed successful in controlling the issue, preventing it from deteriorating significantly under those constraints. The hope is that the changes slated for 2025 will yield more substantial results, although they won't constitute a complete overhaul. Teams may also contribute to this endeavor through their pursuit of excellence. Red Bull, for instance, appears less reliant on top-body downforce compared to its competitors due to its mastery of ground effect design, allowing it to follow other cars with relative ease. With rivals striving to emulate Red Bull's success, this trend could prove advantageous. However, Historical data suggests that the 35% downforce loss rate may worsen over the next year and a half. This is a persistent issue that won't simply vanish. Tombazis' proposed changes for 2025 represent a prudent intermediate step. At a time when inaction might seem tempting as they await the 2026 changes, ground effect has long been hailed as a solution to the following problem. While the shift toward ground effect has been a positive development, as Tombazis notes, the fundamental challenge the FIA is addressing won't fundamentally change, barring a return to the pre-wing era of the 1960s. Ultimately, the alterations for 2025 are expected to be relatively minor, designed to enhance the excitement for the final year of these regulations. However, the FIA aims for more significant changes when the sport's next major rule overhaul takes effect in 2026, including a 50-kilogram weight reduction. The weight of F1 cars has substantially increased over the past decade due to factors such as the introduction of V6 hybrid power units, larger wheels, and safety features like the halo. Drivers have expressed concerns about the changing feel of the cars, particularly in slower corners, as modern cars have become more cumbersome. The remedy? F1 cars in 2026 will be smaller and lighter once again. While the 2026 regulations will primarily focus on the engine, delivering greater hybrid power and sustainable fuels, substantial chassis modifications are also on the horizon, including the introduction of active aerodynamics. Nikolas Tombazis envisions the possibility of a 50-kilogram weight reduction in 2026. Tombazis played a pivotal role in shaping the 2022 F1 rule changes, which aim to facilitate overtaking. He anticipates that the next-generation cars will be faster on straights but slower in corners, with the hybrid system playing a more significant role in total lap time. He explained that with narrower wheels, a redesigned rear wing, and other changes, the goal is to reduce the car's weight by approximately 50 kilograms. This could result in smaller, shorter, and narrower single-seater cars. However, he acknowledges that these solutions require extensive discussion, and achieving the right balance between speed and cornering will be essential. Regarding concerns expressed by Max Verstappen about the 2026 rule changes potentially leading to counterintuitive driving styles and downshifts on long straights, Tombazis believes these perspectives are outdated. He emphasizes that both the engine and chassis requirements for 2026 must be evaluated together. As for the current state of racing with ground effect cars, the question remains whether it has become less thrilling, and whether the FIA can implement sufficient regulatory changes to prevent teams from exploiting loopholes to increase the weight of the car. The anticipation of the 2026 changes, with lighter and smaller cars, suggests the potential for more exciting battles and overtaking. However, only time will reveal the true impact of these adjustments, and given the FIA's flexibility with rules, further changes remain a possibility. I'm eager to hear your thoughts and perspectives. Please share them in the comments section below. Also, remember to subscribe to the channel for notifications on our future uploads, ensuring you stay informed about the developments in the 2023 Formula One season.